Hey guys, welcome to my enchanted space. My name is Shaun-Nicole. For those of you who've known me for or been following me for forever, you know that I go by either Shawnee or Nicole or whatever. Um, I'm always going to introduce myself as it's me because it's easier for me. Um, so if you've been following me for a long time, then you know I've been having a bit of issues with different sites, different platforms, cross-linking everything. So I just figured a YouTube would probably be most best for me at this point. I'm able to just sit and record. I can edit it. I'm not exactly tech savvy, but it's a little easier for me. And then you guys can just see it. You can hear the content and you can see it all in one place. You don't have to keep clicking around. So I just think it's more convenient at this point. So do me a favor, since this is my first one, at the end of this video, either comment and give me a thumbs up if the quality is good, if you can hear me, if you can see me well, or give me a thumbs down if it's a straight piece of shit. Okay? Thank you for your honesty. So the purpose of Enchanted Space for me is to let these gems off. So you guys know that I practice a lot of my, I call it magic. I'll say magic. So I practice a lot of my spirituality and my magic. And as I grow and go through my journey, I feel the need to share more because I'm here to educate and I'm here to heal. I know my purpose in this world. Anytime that I've tried to do anything outside of that, it hasn't worked well for me. So it's time for me to step into my role and to help everyone else, find their purpose or just give them the guidance, because I didn't have so much guidance only up until a few short years ago on what to do and what to make of all of these gifts and these things that kept happening to me, which brings me to my first point. Enchanted Space is a safe space for you all. It is a platform so you guys can learn, you can interact, you can ask questions, or you can lurk. You don't have to interact, but I just wanted to make it known that this is a safe space. So don't come in here talking out bullshit. It's just not going to work out for you, okay? Secondly, I figured that I would take a piece that I did on an app called Anchor, which was more of an audio app, and do it here for my first video, because I feel like it's very important to kind of get the foundation of a little bit of my background, where I came from, why it is that I do what I do, and the two principles for me, which is being an empath and an intuitive, and some of the signs that you can be one, or that you're dealing with one, that you may know one, whether they're an empath or an intuitive or both. So I just feel like it's really important to start that out as the first video. So without further ado, who I am. I've always known since I was younger that I had a gift, per se. I didn't think it was a gift when I was younger. I used to always pray for it to be taken away from me, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of things that children just don't know. They're not ready for. Their parents may or may not know about it. The lights are flickering. So the parents may or may not know about it. I don't know. Parents aren't really so easygoing to open and talk to their children about certain gifts that they may or may not have. But I didn't know I was gifted. I just knew that I was different when I was younger. That's as best as I could put it. There are certain things that I could see before they happen, mostly bad. There are things that I could feel and that I just know without having to research it, without someone telling. There were things that I knew that I'm not supposed to know. I would see certain things that just no one else would see. And when you're a child, the younger you are, the more susceptible you are, because you're just coming into this realm. So children are always the most susceptible to receive messages, to see things. And it's we as adults that when we get older, we move further away from the realm, and we're tainted by life, that we just think that, okay, that was just our imagination, or that we're bugging. And that's really not the case. And God bless those who've been able to carry their gifts with them into adulthood, because the world needs more people like us. We need more open-minded people. We need people who aren't going to be so quick to just turn down the next generation of children when they come in talking about, mommy, I seen this, or daddy, I seen that, to not shun them, to allow them that open space to practice their magic, to just explore what it is that they're feeling and experiencing, instead of us just saying, oh, it's just little Johnny's imagination. It's not fair to do that. So with that being said, about 3.5, maybe 4 years ago, I finally decided to just face whatever this was, because I would pray for it to be taken away. Obviously, it didn't get taken away. It actually got worse, and worse in a good way, meaning like more was being opened up to me. So a friend of mine just told me one day, like, hey, I think you're an empath. And I was looking at him like, what is that? And he just told me, like, just look into it, do some thorough research, and then you let me know what it is. So the first thing that I'm going to talk to you guys about is what being an empath is. And luckily for me, I don't have to ramble so much because I write everything down in this. I have a million of these. This is actually a new one. It's so cute. But I wrote down everything from the last time when I did my audio on it. So I'm happy that I saved everything, because then I could just go back. Instead of me trying to mimic what I did, it'll be more authentic anyway. But an empath is someone who can feel someone else's emotions, their energies, their pains. And I'm not talking about being empathetic. I'm not talking about, yeah, I could relate with you. I am talking about if your significant other is depressed, you're depressed. If your mom has pain, you have pain. If you walk into a room with a bunch of people who were just arguing and you didn't know they were arguing, you feel like you are arguing too now. So that's what I mean by being an empath. It's not just being relatable. It's not just being able to say, oh, I understand that. No, you actually take on the emotions and the energies of those around you. And it doesn't even have to be proximity. It could be from miles and miles away. It could be halfway across the world, and you could feel if something's going wrong. It's like that theory of quantum entanglement, where the parent would know if something was wrong with their child, or the wife would know if something happened to their husband, and just have that natural instinct, that reaction to go looking for them because they know they're in trouble. That is what being an empath is. So some signs, I'm sorry, if I'm looking off, it's because I'm looking at my notes. So some signs of being an empath is like we attract energy vampires. And energy vampires are those people who, they don't know that they are. So I'm not making it to be a bad thing, but some people they naturally gravitate towards you. If you find that you're a person where people just come and start talking to you randomly, want to tell you their whole life story because they just need an ear to listen to, there's something in them that feels your energy, that gravitates them towards you, because they know you're going to take that time out to listen and maybe give them some advice, or maybe just listening is just enough. There are people that are so needy, maybe I'll say, and they just know that you're going to give them what they need. They may not even know you, but something in them knows that you're the person that they need to talk to. So that's what I mean by energy vampires. They don't just come up to you and just make your life a living hell and just drain you of all your energy on purpose. But people are just drawn to you, and because they're so drawn to you, they suck out the energy from you. And by the time you're done with an interaction or you're done with your day, you are drained. You cannot continue. You need to recharge. You need to take some time aside and recharge. The second thing is you date a lot of narcissists. And I say this because it goes back to that neediness. Narcissistic people are pretty much full of themselves. The world revolves around them. They just are so self-consumed. What about me? I need this. I want that. It's not your fault, or it's not my fault. It's your fault. They are so involved with themselves that they can't see the world around them. And they're drawn to empaths naturally because we are the opposite. We are very selfless. We want to nurture. We want to tend to you. We want to take care of you. So it is like the perfect thing for a narcissist to end up with an empath. But it's the worst thing for us because who wants to be in a draining type of situation? Who wants to be drained by your loved ones or your romantic partner or whoever simply because they can't get over themselves? We are their ego stroker, whether we realize it or not. And it's very, very exhausting. So that is also another sign that you or someone may be an empath if they're continuously putting themselves around narcissistic people. It is such an unhealthy thing to do. So if you realize that, cut it out, please. The next thing would be like an aversion to a lifestyle, or an aversion to a lifestyle. So let's say vegans. Now, I'm not saying that all vegans are empaths. I'm not saying, vegans are vegans for this reason, but there are some empathic people who have decided to be vegans because, again, it goes back to the first point. You can feel the energy of others. Animals are living things. People slaughter them to eat meat. So what do you think as an empath when you eat meat? How are you feeling? Yeah, you might feel full, but you might also feel sluggish. You might feel drained. So because of that, we're basically ingesting the energy that was there in the animals, and it might not make us feel so well. So if you have an aversion to meat, but it's unexplainable, like it's just that bad that you just cannot stand the smell or the taste of it, you can be an empath. Just like with everything else, whether it be meat, whether it be a lifestyle that you live, like exercising, or an aversion to something, if it's just deep down in your soul that you just cannot deal with it, you may be an empath. So I say all of that to make you guys aware, to focus on grounding and shielding and recharging yourself. If you find yourself going through a day and you are drained by the end of your day because you've given it all away and you haven't even thought about yourself, you can very well be an empath. Keep in mind that it's important to charge up and ground yourself in shields. And I'll get into more of what grounding and shielding is in another video. So intuitives. An intuitive is, I think you guys know what an intuitive is. I mean, it's like your gut, your instinct, oh damn, I knew it. That type of thing. But it's like that on an extra large scale. It's oh, I knew it, and this is I knew it. So with intuitives, like me, I'll know things about people that I'm not supposed to know. And there's been times where I've opened my mouth saying it, and it didn't turn out so well because it's like, how'd you know that? And if I don't have an answer for how I know it aside from I just know, then I'm looking like a liar or I'm looking crazy. So there are some signs that you may be intuitive or that someone you know may be intuitive. One of the first signs is that they wake up groggy and always tired. And I say that because there is a such thing as too much sleep or too little sleep. But if you could get a quality amount of sleep and you could stay asleep throughout the night and you still wake up tired, you are intuitive. That's only because your subconscious mind is always working in your sleep. When you're dreaming, or even if you can't remember your dream, your mind is always working. You are at your most vulnerable throughout the evening when you're sleeping, especially if you're in a deep sleep. That is when your spirit guides, other people that you may know, your deceased loved ones, that is when people come and deliver messages to you. So if you get great sleep at night and you're still waking up tired, maybe you might be intuitive. The second one will be, I discussed it, your internal hunches or the little voices that you hear, like, okay, it's going to be a real simple example, but I'm about to use, but Johnny's going to get hit by a car. That's not simple, that's messed up, but hey, Johnny's going to get hit by a car. And I know he's going to get hit by a car, right? And then what happens later on down the week? Johnny got hit by a car. So you just knew it. You didn't see it coming. No one came and tipped you off and said, yo, I'm about to hit Johnny with my car later this week. Stand by. Like, no. You just knew it. It's just very instinctual. It goes again back to that, the wife knowing that her husband is in trouble and she hasn't gotten a phone call. The mother knowing their child is in danger. It's instinct. It just clicks inside of you. Information that just hits you instantly and you just know it. There's no rhyme or reason to it other than that you just know it. So if you just get some things that you know and it's come out to fruition, it's came into play, you or someone you know may be intuitive. And the thing about it is that we are all intuitive. We just ignore it. You have a random thought in a day, pay attention to your thoughts. You may have a random thought during a day and you're like, why did I even think about that? Whatever. And it might come out to be from something. So pay attention to even the most random, bizarre thoughts that you could ever have, because it may not happen that day, the next day, later down the week, but at some point that will come about. That thought comes from something, and it is your intuition that you are ignoring. The next sign, you may think that you're crazy. Wow. So, let me tell you, there have been plenty of times where I thought I was going to Creedmoor. If no one knows what Creedmoor is, it is a mental institution in New York. I thought I was going there quite some time. I remember some nights like just holding my ears over my head because I was gone. And I thought I was fucking crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I thought I was crazy. And the thing about it is then I didn't step into my own being. So at this point, I'm learning about myself and who I am. I don't even know who I am as a person. And then I have like a set of stuff over me. So, it's like you get the message, it happens, but you can't explain how you got it. So now I'm like, yo, I gotta be crazy or something. Like, what's going on? And that's how it felt. So if there are times where you get messages or you feel some things and you just feel like you're crazy, you can be intuitive. It's just like people in a relationship. Let's say, I always use Johnny because Johnny's like the most easiest name to use. So let's say Johnny and Rebecca are in a relationship, right? And Rebecca is constantly thinking that something's up with Johnny. I know something's up. I know something's up. And Johnny's like, yo, you crazy. You are dead crazy. And Rebecca's just sitting there going, I know something's up. Something's up with you. And then lo and behold, something's up with Johnny. Now Rebecca done thought she was crazy for all this time when really it was her intuition. I'm not saying that everything is intuition, because there are just some people out there with their insecurities or with their random thoughts. But if you find that it happens often and that things come into fruition, you or someone you may know may be an intuitive. Now, can they be both? Yes. You can be an empath and you can be an intuitive. And I'm going to tell you why. There's no cut and dry, like whatever you want to call it. There's no black and white to gifts. You can be one thing, you can be multiple things. You can have the gift of one, you can have the gift of many. There is no rule or blueprint to your spirituality, your gifts, and your magic. There's just no rule to it. So, you have to just find what works for you and come into your own. Because the longer you deny it, I promise you, the longer you deny it, the more you try to fight it, the worse it's going to be off for you later down the line when your gifts start advancing and you're not ready for it. It happened to me, so I know. So the similarities of these, to me, these are just, let me just say, the signs and symptoms of these things, or whatever, the signs and symptoms of these things are what I've noticed. These are things to me that people don't talk about. Like when you go on YouTube or you Google things and you get like a generic type of thing. No, these are not the generic things. These are things that I've noticed in my own journey and from people around me. These are things that are not spoken about. So when I go into the similarities, keep that in mind as well, that there are things that just aren't spoken about. So the first similarity for me would be trouble with authority. And I don't mean like I'm going to do what I want and I'm going to go to jail and whatever, breaking the rules and stuff. I don't mean like that. I mean like trouble with like societal norms. Like, I had to take a minute. So you get these societal norms, right? Of what should be done, how it should be done. It's for the good of mankind, when really it might be for the good of whoever's in charge of the rules, if you catch what I'm saying. So the trouble with authority therein lies, well, why is it like this? Why do you think that? Why should it be like this? Why can't it be like that? That if you are always questioning why, when you are handed down a set of standards to live by, you may be both empathic and intuitive, because something in you is telling you that it's not right, and something also in you is telling you that it's not for the better good, the greater good of mankind, of the human race. And it just is what it is. You know, if you always are the person that questions why to everything, but why, until you get an answer, you may be both, because you know better. Something in your soul knows better. So question everything. I tell you, do that regardless. Question everything. Don't just eat up what people are feeding you. It's bad. It's bad to do that. The next time would be you don't fit in. I never fit in. So this was the thing with me growing up. So when I grew up, I was the first female in my family. And whew, I was first female in like a good 10, 15 years, right? So I'm the first daughter, the first granddaughter. I'm the first niece, the first female cousin. And this is on both sides. So I have a very male-dominated family on both sides of my family. So I already came in with a space held just for me. Like, this is one generation, this is the other, and I'm right in the middle somewhere. So I already came in feeling like I didn't necessarily fit into anything. And then in school, I didn't want to be the cool person. Like, I knew who I knew. I was one of those people who I knew everybody, but I wasn't friends with everybody, because everyone didn't understand where I was coming from. I was always in the background. I'm always quiet. I'm always to myself. If you really know me, you'll know I have two sides. I could be loud, and then I could be like a little hermit, and I don't want to be bothered. So I didn't really fit in. And the reason why I didn't fit in is just because I really didn't feel like that I belonged here on earth. I didn't feel like I belonged where I was at, because I didn't know my purpose. So if there are times where you're feeling like you don't belong, or you just don't know where you fit in at, that is also an empathic, intuitive thing. You just feel it, and you don't know why you feel like that. You can have all the friends in the world, everyone is around you, and you still feel so isolated, like the black sheep. And it could be because of that. Remember, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Energy keeps recycling itself. So when you come here and you feel like the black sheep, it's probably because you know that you are. In this new generation, there's probably some karma that you're bringing in from a past life that makes you feel like you know better, but you can't pinpoint it yet, because you're in your new life now, and you might not remember fragments of your past life, but your soul carries it. That energy carries it. So instinctively, you know that you're not going to be like the other people. Now, also, there are people like that who do bad things. They go shoot things up and stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about, oh, I feel like the black sheep, let me shoot some things up. No. I'm talking about instinctually, you don't feel it. You don't fit in, okay? Let's make that clear. And the last one is like, you either reject, you question, or you're deeply rooted in faith. So I was blessed enough to have many different religions in my family, and my mom, while she's trying to find herself, took me along for the ride, needless to say. So I'm very open-minded with people and their spirituality, their religion. I still believe at the end of the day, we all believe something, that there's something greater than us. So that's what I take from bits and pieces of everything. But I've realized that people who are highly intuitive and empathic, they either reject religion at first because they know that something's just not quite right, no matter what religion they go to. They question everything, which brings me back to that trouble with authority, the why, or they're deeply rooted in faith, because when you are what you are and who you are spiritually, magically, it makes you question a lot of things about yourself. So what is the easiest thing to do? I'm going to go and get my rule book, the Bible, the Quran, the whatever other religious texts there are. I'm going to go open this book and I'm going to live by this book, because this has words to whatever it is. There are no words, there's no book, there's no blueprint for spiritual beings, for people who are here and have a specific purpose on this earth to do something more than just exist. There are no words for that. There are no rules for that. There are no repercussions for that. For people who understand their intuitiveness, their empathicism. I don't know if that's a word, I made it up. There are just no words for that. So, yeah, I see it. I've seen it in my family. And, maybe it skipped a generation, maybe it travels with bloodline, but I know my bloodline, and I know that there's a lot of conjuring that goes through the blood. And I've seen some heavily religious elders in my family, and I've often questioned why. Why are you way more religious than the norm would be? And honestly, I believe that that's why. So I hope for the first video that I wasn't too scatterbrained, that I wasn't too jittery, that I answered some questions, because I spoke about this almost a month ago, maybe. It didn't really reach the masses, but those who did listen to it had some questions about certain things. So I just wanted to bring it up again, because I think it's very important to know who you're around. Even if you don't have any gifts, or you don't think that you're one of those spiritual beings, I'll put it in quotes, look out for your friends and your family, because you never know. You never know the journey that they're going through. And they may be ashamed to say something because they don't want to feel like a weirdo. Because society says that you can only believe in a God or none, and that you're not made of magic, that you can't do shit but work, go to school, get married, have kids, and do what the man says. So look out. Those are the signs. They may not be as apparent to you, but I hope that after this video, it allows you to be more open-minded about things and who you're interacting with, because even those people, those healers, need someone to listen to, because we're always the ones taking on more than what we can handle. So, to reiterate, if you like this video, if the quality was good, if you could hear me very well, just give me a thumbs up in the comments, please. I really need the feedback, so I can know what to do or what not to do next time around. And if it was just shitty, give me a thumbs down and tell me why or why not the video was good, okay? Thank you so much for watching.